This episode of Muddy River Gems is brought to you by Dot Foods.
Why work at that?
You could list out individual qualities forever.
There's a lot of opportunities.
They take care of the employees, they take care of the community.
So our pay, our benefits, it's competitive. Time off, tons of flexibility.
They're willing to work with you to help you advance.
Hi, I'm Mark McDonald. If you're of a certain age and grew up watching Quincy television, you have no doubt heard of Possum Holler Opry and its star, Toby Dick Elles. Well, he is here to discuss early Quincy television with us on this edition of Muddy River Gems. Toby Dick Elles, I just talked about the Possum Holler Opry.
Yes.
And how anybody that's old enough to remember Quincy television back in the 60s would be familiar with it. You were the star.
Yes.
It was your baby, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
How did it get started?
Well, I was on a TV show in Rockford, and it was a country western themed, and it was West Holly, and it was called Holly's Follies. And then I married a girl from the Quincy area. And so we came here, and I can't remember how we met Joe Bonasinga, but somehow we went to the station here in Quincy, and we hit it off real well. And so I don't know, you know, things just happen.
They fall together sometimes, don't they?
You don't plan it, they just happen. And so he said, well, you know, come here and do the show. And we did, and it was a big hit right from the start, and we had the highest rated television show in the tri-state area. The highest rated.
Well, but you know what surprises me about that? It was on Sunday.
On Sunday.
Now, people are either in church or they're off doing family things or watching a ball game or something. How did you draw a crowd on Sunday?
It was that good. I mean, that's all I can say is that we hit a chord with the population here, and and we got a write-up out of here anyway, but Joe showed it to me, where country music show beats the ratings of everything. We had the highest rated TV show.
And it was for 10 years. You went on for 10 years, from 1960 to 1970, and you had, well, it was a variety show, wasn't it? A country western variety show.
Country western variety.
And your performers, you didn't script the show, you just did it. Is that right?
Did it. And I just heard yesterday from Linda Cassidy. Linda Cassidy is in Nashville and very popular, and she's from Rushville.
Oh, okay.
And so, she, you know, it's how can I say it? But your friendships never die.
Yeah.
In this business, and you must know that because you're in that field. But you're recognizable, and you're just.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but you're a star.
You know what I want to do?
But
Not too many years ago, you had sort of a revival of the program at the junior high auditorium.
yes,
And you brought back some of the old folks that had appeared on the program for 10 years, and you sold out the place. And I want to show some of that performance now, okay? Because it kind of give the audience who didn't see your show a flavor of what it was like.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready? All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it's Possum Holler Opry time.
Promenade, go round the ring. Promenade, come on out, and here we go in that promenade. Hey, back right out and then make a big ring. Circle to the left, go around, and then do an element left, like an element bar. Go right and left and a four and a star. Hook by the left and star by the right, and I back 'em up, boys, back that star. Shoot that star, and here we go. Go right and left, do a do paso. Turn her by the left and the corner by the right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what would Possum Holler Opry be without Toby Dick Elles, right? Right? Can we get a Toby? Toby? Anybody? Yeah, yeah. Come on out here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Just yank that thing down. We've got some history to talk with you. I have some deep, really serious investigative questions for you tonight.
Okay,
I do,
I'll
yes.
See you later.
Sounds like a smart move, right?
I don't like that serious stuff.
I had people.
Toby, you had a regular cast of characters on your weekly program,
Yes.
but you also had stars come in from Nashville.
Nashville.
Like who?
Minnie Pearl, Furlan Husky.
Wow.
We had talked. They would, when they were coming through, then they would let me know, and it's so funny because I was in Nashville and walking with somebody from here, and I can't remember the star, but one of the Grand Ole Opry stars was cutting in, and they cut a like kitty corner across the street. Hey, Toby! And he says, "Oh my God!"
You probably met a whole array of interesting people through all this. But during that 10-year period when you were on WGEM for every Sunday, you had a strong cast of regulars, didn't you? And when I mentioned the fact that you didn't script the program, they were strong enough to just be able to take off for 30 minutes or an hour, however long, and they just knew how to do it, didn't they?
Yeah. We started out at a half an hour, and then 45 minutes, and finally Joe said, make it an hour.
Because they couldn't get enough of you.
Right. Fools.
Well, listen, we get a chance to, and I want to watch a little bit more of this revival, this nostalgia program that you put on at the junior high school. I want to watch a little more of that. We have a little more of that to see, okay, to show the audience. So you and I'll come back in just a little bit.
Okay.
You're wandering around.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you have there?
This is a list of people that I can whoop.
People you can whoop?
Yep, yeah, that's a list of all the people I can whoop.
Can I see that? Well, that's impressive. Toby, my name's on that list.
You made my list.
But Toby, you can't whoop me.
You're on the list.
Look, I don't care about your silly list. You can't whoop me.
You don't just get on the list willy-nilly willy. You have to, you're on my list.
Toby, I am larger than you. I am younger than you. You can't whoop me.
I don't like your altitude at all.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
I'm going to take you off my list.
Steel guitar. 1, 2, 3.
And you, after Possum Holler Opry ended, you had then started international touring, right?
Yep, I did.
So I mean, you had this whole life-changing experience, and after that, did the show play a role in that for you? Did it help kind of launch that?
Oh yeah, you mean Possum Holler Opry? Oh yeah, because I wouldn't have been recording at all if it hadn't been for that show. Wow. Not at all.
Well, I hope you come and see me in the movies. Then I know that you're gonna plainly see the biggest fool that's ever hit the big time. And all I gotta do is act naturally.
Toby, one would ask, why after 10 years of wild success, live TV, would you stop performing the Possum Holler?
We had so many bookings that took us way out of this territory. Hundreds of miles away, and I would drive back to do that show on Sunday morning, and then drive all the way back. And I thought, that old saying, if anything can happen, it will. And I thought, driving this every Sunday is not wise.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you have to be fresh. When you get there on Sunday, you got to be fresh and ready to go, right? You got to be.
Yeah, but with country music, you're always fresh.
You can get up for that, right? You can get up for that.
Yeah, you bet.
A lot of people don't know what you were doing a large time this travel. You had marionettes, right? You were a puppeteer.
Yes, I was a puppeteer, and I built my own puppets or marionettes, and they're all hand carved, and they're beautiful. and my son Rich has them now.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And he knows how to use them, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's a family affair. Yeah.
Well, the puppets had been in your family for some time, hadn't they?
Yeah.
How many generations?
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Grandpa.
Well, you're a remarkable man of many talents, because now you told me that you can't sing and you don't play an instrument. Now, I don't buy that. I bet you can sing. I'm not going to ask you to sing, but I'll bet you
Please
can.
don't.
But you can dance, and you can tell a joke, and you can produce a program, can't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I had a gift, and that's from above, how to put things together. And like I say, we had the highest rated TV show, and that was something. That was really, and then somebody said, oh yeah, to Possum Holler, something. We got to talking at the TV station, and the guy says, oh my God, you have the highest rated TV show in history there. I said, really? And he said, yeah, you didn't know that? I said, no. I said, they don't tell me good things. They're afraid I'll ask.
You might want more money.
That's exactly what I said. Yeah, I might want more money.
Toby, thank you so much for the visit.
This is
It's been terrific.
Reliving things is a great joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. We'll be right back.
I think what it comes down to is the culture and the people.
Our culture here at DOT is like no other. I've never experienced anything like what I've lived with for the last 12 years.
DOT is very diverse. It is truly a family-owned business, but it is a family inside and out.
You always feel like you matter and you play a big hand in the pot.
There's so many opportunities to make a difference at DOT and really contribute to the success of the organization.
On the next edition of Muddy River Gems, Jim Keller, there aren't many layouts this extensive. It's a big rail yard.
Yeah, it's our largest.
I just love the way you guys do this, how you build the town. And all these buildings and cars and all these things. Now I know that the locomotives and the cars, you buy those, but what about all this? Do you make all that, or is that all available for sale somewhere?
Most of that's available for sale. And in part of the layout and some of the other layouts, they're what we call scratch built.
Well, that's very impressive.
But all the cars and the buildings and the signs ought to fit within the era that we do, which is 1958. So they'd be
okay. All right.
And I think you see a car dealer there, and inside of that car dealer will be probably 1958 cars.
And that sure is. I remember them. Yep.
You see the accident that's happened back there.
Oh, yeah, right between the buildings.
Right.
I hope nobody's hurt. That's on the next edition of Muddy River Gems.
From our trucks to their lunch trays, to your local hospital, to your favorite pub, and to your kitchen table. For more than 60 years, DOT Foods and DOT Transportation have been stocking the shelves of your hometown. Sure, we've grown a lot, but at our core, we're still small-town, family-run businesses that care about our communities and the people who keep us running. Join the DOT family today and be part of something bigger.
Richard Elsenpeter, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. We just got a little information from your dad about the fact that these marionettes have been in the family for some generations. You're carrying that on now, aren't you?
I am. We have 4 generations, started with my great-grandfather in Elson, Germany, about 154 years ago. So yeah, I'd be the 4th generation of puppeteers within the family.
And your dad built these?
He did.
Do you build any, or have you gotten that far yet?
I do build puppets, but I have to say that I am not of the talent of creating the puppets. And we have so many that I don't have to create a whole bunch of new ones. Because people ask us, how many puppets do you have? I'm like, thousands, you know.
It must feel really neat handling these handcrafted things from your family.
It is phenomenal because, as I said, most of the puppets that I work with or that we still work with are somewhere around 45 to 50 years old. And people will ask, you know, like, how do you keep them so well preserved? I'm like, they're not toys. You know, you can't play with them, you can't use them as toys. You have to consider them as a tool for a trade. So
your father was describing the fact that when he got too busy doing this traveling to continue the TV show, and he was going, in many cases, he was going to schools because they had budgets at the time for these sort of enrichment programs. You do that too, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. My father traveled nationally, would do anywhere from about 350 to 400 shows per year.
Oh my goodness.
I don't want to do that many, and I don't want to travel as far as he traveled, because he traveled nationally from East Coast, West Coast, Canada to Mexico.
Yeah.
I try to stay more local, so within Illinois, Missouri, Iowa, Indiana areas, so I can get back, you know, do the shows, get back to my family, and not be as away from them as nearly as much as he was. So.
We have an opportunity to see some of your program because we shot one some time ago, and so let's take a look at what you do when you go out to a school.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Mom, Dad, sakes, you ain't finished the fence. Oh, yes, Dad, long ago. Well, I never. There's no getting around that you can do a friend or a mind to. Seems you're really trouble most of the time, but other times you're real sweet and I forgive you. Well, I must spruce myself up for the parson. Now hurry and change your clothes, Tom. And don't forget your shoes. Not my shoes! Yes, your shoes. Go on now, before anyone comes.
Don't take me more than a jiffy to slip up. Why don't Sid have to get washed and dressed too?
Why, he's been ready for hours and he's in the parlor studying his verses like you should be a-doing.
You going around with Puff? He smokes the corncob pipe and he doesn't go to school.
Aunt Polly doesn't need it, huh? I know you're a good fella, and I'll go with you.
Richard, does she have a name?
This is the Not So Nice Witch. This year's program is Sleeping Beauty. So this is the Not So Nice Witch within the program.
Is this one that your dad built?
He did. As I said, this is probably one of the older sets. This set is probably about 50 years old. So a lot of people will ask us, you know, how do you keep them so well? How do you keep them so pristine? And it says you have to be very careful. You have to store them properly. You have to hang them properly. But I also say that anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Well, with all those, you know, strings and knots and stuff, of course. But your dad carved and painted this?
Yes. And we use three different types of wood. A white pine, balsa, and a liquid putty for the heads.
Wow. That is really cool. When you go out to the schools and do the marionettes, what do you probably have a number of different shows that you do. What do they seem to get most taken by? What do they get involved in the most?
A lot of times we'll hear about the attention span of children, and that you have to be very glitzy, glamorous, fast-paced. You know, we're not. I can't even stretch that to say that we're fast-paced. We are just a storybook style of entertainment. So he says, what I tend to find, we have never lost an audience. We have never had, you know, people lose interest. As long as you give them good, solid entertainment, as long as you give them not a cookie cutter type, and that's one of the beauties of Possum Holler Opry, was it wasn't a cookie cutter type. It was local performers doing great talent. It's the same thing with the marionettes. You give them great program, something that they're not used to, and you will keep their attention.
Well, let's take another look.
This cave is spooky. I like it. I like Lenny's Palace best. Come on, Jackie. Let's explore some more. No, you won't. She's gonna go with me. Okay, by me. I'll go with the rest of the kids.
I have been working puppets
moving the hands like this, and the hand comes off. And those said, the hands are just simply held on by some grommets and some screws. That comes off. My father tells a story. He was doing a fairy princess, evil witch type story one time. And the witch came flying in, landed on the stage. Her head had become disengaged from the body. So when he landed her, her head came out here, floated for a minute, and then came back, landed on the body. And everybody's like, that was so cool. How did you do that? It wasn't supposed to happen. It just did.
Richard, except for Toby, you know more about Possum Holler Opry than anybody else. And you were good enough to bring some materials for us to take a look at here. But it's an interesting history, and the fact that look back at live TV, you know, that doesn't happen anymore, and it will never happen again. Those 30-minute to hour programs, and some of them were every day. So some of the larger markets had every day after school there would be live TV. You know, it must have been a fascinating time.
It was, and it was so interesting going to the different shows with Father Toby, going to the Possum Holler Opry programs, working in the workshops with him. But it was fascinating, and I probably didn't appreciate it enough, you know, as a young boy. You know, it was just things that your dad did.
Yeah.
But he said, looking back on it, it was very interesting. It was a lot of fun. And it's that an era, a bygone era that we'll probably never see again. So.
Were you aware that your dad was a star?
Again, probably not as much as I should have. And you look back on things now as you're older and you know, appreciate it far more than I did then. I just knew that a lot of people knew him. I know that he would dress up in costumes and go and get on stage. But I was busy being a boy. You know, so.
Sure. But still, I mean, I imagine you did get to go watch once in a while, and you knew something important was going on, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it says I remember going to the shows and being on the shows and being held in my father's arms during a Mountain Dew commercial or a Kool-Aid commercial or a milk, you know, Prairie Farms milk commercial, and just being a part of that.
And again, those were probably live too, weren't they?
Those were absolutely live. You know, so it's just one of those. It would be commercial segment, and he would do the live commercials for you know, Kool-Aid, and he would, you know, pick me up and hold me in his arms and do the commercial. So
you know, if you could be your age now and transported back to that time and watching these vaudeville style performers just doing what they do for 30 minutes or an hour, wouldn't that be phenomenal?
It would be so educational, because just to watch their professionalism, how well they interact, how they overcome obstacles or hecklers or somebody in the audience, and just let that roll and just be able to not get flustered, not have to say, cut, you know, we're going to do another take because I didn't say that right. They just rolled with it. And so,
well, you know, when you don't have a safety net, you don't fall. I mean, maybe that's what it was like.
You fall gracefully.
Yeah. Did you ever recall meeting any big stars like Minnie Pearl or any of those that they may not have seemed like big stars to you, but did you meet any of those as they were coming through?
Yes, I did have the opportunity. You know, so Rex Allen, you know, wrote Gentle on My Mind at my father's house. You know, so
really?
He really did. So he said he was, Rex Allen was coming through, going to be on the program, stopped at my father's house, because so many, back then there wasn't a lot of hotels.
Yeah.
So when these people came in, a lot of times they would stay, you know, be hosted by somebody, and Toby would put them up at his house. So these people would come in, so you had a chance.
Gentle on My Mind at your father's house.
Correct.
Well, now you probably didn't have anything to do with that, because you being a bratty kid, you probably wasn't very gentle at the time. You must have been out of the house when you had gentle.
Oh, what there was said. It's one of those that you, some things you remember, some things you don't, and some things as a 10-year-old boy, it just doesn't quite register. So, but the times were so interesting. They were so much fun. Looking back on those things and being able to have that experience, and just. Be very proud of the accomplishments, you know, of all the things my father did, of, you know, his time in Hollywood, his time on the tent shows, on the time with the, you know, Possum Holler Opry with his marionettes, and being able to carry on that legacy, carry on that tradition is just, yes, it's awesome. I really, you know, I appreciate that opportunity.
Well, Richard, thank you so much.
Mark, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir.
And thank you too to Toby, who is still here watching us today. You may or may not remember Possum Holler TV. It was on for 10 years here in Quincy, a live program. Toby still remembers it very well, his son Richard, and it's been a real pleasure here getting a chance to visit them and relive those days. With another Muddy River gem in Quincy, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
This episode of Muddy River Gems was brought to you by Dot Foods,